Let's talk about the Lenovo Legion Go 2, the second generation. It's officially out. Lenovo's got their pages up, and I'm currently hearing that it's already up for pre-purchase at Best Buy in some places. And yeah, everyone is talking about it. As a matter of fact, I just watched the video from Dave 2D, which is actually the inspiration for this video, because as I was watching, I just caught myself going, finally, someone said it, right?
2025, we have an entire genre of products that are just super expensive. These are gaming handhelds that are bordering the price of like 16-inch gaming laptops. They're painfully expensive. They're also thicker, heavier, louder, bigger, but the price is the pain point. The hardware you get with it, fantastic. The screen, the controller, the new mouse, the new ergonomics, all great stuff, but $1,500 is so expensive. Like at this rate, Z3 Extreme devices are gonna be like $2,000. It's just, it's wild. This is not what handhelds ever were built for.
You see, we've built this habit in tech where anything new automatically gets the confetti cannon treatment. Teasers, leaks, hype reels, then launch day hits and we smash the buy button. It happens because we are humans, right? We buy first with our feelings. This fear of missing out is a powerful drug, to be honest. Now, real talk, I don't have anything against the Legion Go 2. If anything, this is the one device I've been quietly waiting for. And on paper, Lenovo did a lot of things right this time. I'm going to do my hands-on testing and give you guys a proper verdict later, but from what I'm seeing so far, we are finally getting the 8.8-inch OLED that supports VRR, claim 507 nits of brightness, and the headliner for most people, including myself, is the 74 watt-hour battery. Finally, something that at least on paper puts my Ayaneo 3 to shame in terms of battery life and of course screen real estate. That combo alone checks a ton of boxes for me. Design-wise, it looks great, honestly, and I'm not gonna spend 10 minutes describing the detachable controllers or the familiar shape. It's basically the original Legion Go DNA, now with the panel you actually wanted, and of course a battery that you won't side eye, right? Just those two upgrades for me already makes this very, very tempting. But here's where I'm actually gonna pump the brakes, okay? The pricing. Now, this is where it gets complicated for real buyers, not reviewers, not YouTube comments, people actually moving money around. From what I'm seeing so far, the configuration splits like this. There's a base variant with a Ryzen Z2 chip, 16 gigs of RAM and 1 terabyte of SSD at around $1,099. Now, that's the gets me in the door option, okay? You can bump the RAM for roughly $100 more, and if you want the Z2 Extreme, it climbs to $1,300 plus, still with 1 terabyte. And if you're like me and 1 terabyte vanishes in 2 Steam sales, the 2 terabyte configuration sits around $1,479, I think. And by the way, that's US pricing, okay? If you're outside the US, you're not done yet, okay? Because there's also the import taxes, VAT, and random fees that bumps up the price even more. The marketing of this device always points the camera at the top model, the Extreme chip, right? The full glow up. And that's the version that almost nobody buys because, well, rent exists, right? Most people end up with a lower configuration, and then the question becomes, what did you actually gain over, let me say, the original Legion Go? Yes, you get the OLED with a VRR and of course the bigger battery, which of course they are huge, but performance at a Z2 tier versus the old AMD parts isn't world-shattering, right? Meanwhile, the original was lighter and, had a similar screen size and of course a higher resolution panel. So in the base tier, you are basically paying more for the panel experience and endurance. That might be worth it for you, but for others, maybe not. And then there's future proofing, okay? This is where I personally get picky. The Legion Go 2 doesn't have an OCuLink port. I've said this before on my channel that once a handheld crosses about $1,200, I expect OCuLink. Not because I love ports, okay, but because I love options. USB 4 is good, but it's a shared freeway. Power, display, data, everything fighting for lanes, okay? OCuLink is a dedicated PCIe line. Lower latency, fewer bottlenecks, real eGPU performance, and if I'm buying premium, I'm spending over $1,500, I want the clean path to a hybrid setup. Handheld when I'm on the couch, desktop class when I'm docked. And that ties into, of course, the resale value. If you haven't noticed, the handheld market or a space is moving really fast. In a year, something similar in price, I'm very certain, is going to show up with OCuLink or some AI Max class chip, right? And the value curves on this particular Legion Go 2 is going to dip really hard. And that's just the reality of this category right now. So where do I stand? Personally, even though the Legion Go 2 looks fantastic, I might have to skip it as my personal daily device, since I already, of course, have the Ayaneo 3, but of course I'll be getting one for the channel's sake, right? In order to, just put it head to head with my Ayaneo 3, run it through my, usual test and show you guys what you're really getting in terms of real world gaming performance and of course general experience. So for me, the mixing OCuLink plus the higher pricing are the two turnoffs for me right now. And it's funny because a few months ago we are all calling this Ayaneo 3 OLED that it was overpriced, and of course we say the same thing for the 1X players and all that. But this Ayaneo 3 has an OCuLink port, and I've been running it docked to my RTX 5070 eGPU and getting desktop-like performance on my 4K portable monitor, which of course I'm going to be showing you guys very soon in a different video. And honestly guys, this setup is wild, okay? It lets the handheld be two machines without buying two machines, right? And that's hard to unsee once you've tried it. Now let's rewind and talk about the Legion Go 2's win properly, because of course there are real wins, which I'm not going to deny. OLED plus VRR on a handheld this size is not just a spec line, it changes how the device feels in terms of immersion, right? Black actually look black, colors pop without that over processed LCD vibe, Motion feels smoother because VRR clean up frame swings. Now, if you're sensitive to tearing or game stuttering, you're actually going to notice with this new Lenovo Legion Go 2. And that 507 nits of brightness, if it holds up in testing, it means usable brightness in actual daylight, not just at a desk, okay? Then of course there's the 74 watt-hour battery, which is amazing. Now that number doesn't automatically equal great battery life because TDP and settings also matters, but it of course gives you this headroom, right? It means you can actually play without babysitting the percentage every 15 minutes. Now of course, if you cap the FPS sensibly, you tune the settings, and of course you don't run max TDP all the time, that capacity can turn, I will just do one race until I actually, can finish a whole chapter of a game. Also, the ergonomics is familiar in a very good way. The original Legion Go was, I would say one of the more comfortable big screen handhelds out there that was actually released. Now, if Lenovo didn't mess that up and it doesn't look like they did, you are actually getting that same this doesn't hurt to hold feeling with a better display and better stamina. And that of course matters a lot more than a lot of people admit. So the question now is this: who is this device for? Now, if you've been waiting specifically for a big OLED handheld with VRR and of course a serious battery life, and you don't plan to, let's say, dock to an eGPU, then this could be the one. You get a gorgeous screen, smoother motion, and fewer battery anxiety moments. If you play mostly handheld and you value the panel experience, then this checks all the boxes. Now, if you want hybrid power just like me, where your handheld can actually double as a desktop with an eGPU on the weekends, then the lack of OCuLink is a real trade-off. Can you still use USB 4? Of course, but once you felt the stability and the low latency of OCuLink, it's honestly hard to go back. For a premium price that the Legion Go 2 is going, I actually expect the premium path. And finally, if you're outside the US, just add the taxes and shipping and ask yourself if the Ayaneo 3 plus OCuLink or another OLED device might offer a better overall ecosystem for the same final spend. And just because I know someone is going to ask me right now and say, Samson, so should I upgrade from the original Legion Go and get the Legion Go 2? To that, I'm going to say that if you're happy with your current battery life on the original Legion Go that you have, and you're not craving OLED or VRR, then probably not. But if your use case actually screams, better screen and more battery life, or VRR, then yes, the upgrade might be worth it. But I'll still look hard at the configuration that you're actually going to buy. So after all that said, here's my final verdict. I'm not disappointed in the device. The device looks great. I'm actually disappointed in the price ladder that you have to climb to get the version that people are actually excited about, and that's the part that really stings, especially when everyone today is already stretching budgets. Anyways, of course, I'm gonna grab a Legion Go 2 for the channel, stack it up against the Ayaneo 3 and test the things that you actually care about. And if there's something very specific that you want me to check, maybe dock behavior, controller latency, VRR, and even connecting it to my external GPU with RTS 5070 via USB 4, then don't forget, just put it in the comment section below and I'm going to make a list, okay? That said, if this breakdown really helped you, hit the like button so more people see this video, and of course consider subscribing if you want the follow-up test, and I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.